This is Cara from Cara Tarot with a hashtag VR to Ravneet at Winds of Reflection. We're kind of new to each other, and I'm so enjoying her. Just tremendously sweet. And the hashtag is show us your backs, not to be confused with show us your decks. And I think I really got into this hashtag, which I think you'll be able to tell eventually. And I have mentioned this many, many times, she kicks right off with the big guns, which is which deck back is the most gorgeous in your collection? We start with this magnificent hot pink fuchsia gilding, and bam, bam. The Muse Cat Tarot, which when I did a VR just a couple days ago, there were only 3 left, and it is now, as of last night, out of print. However, they may do another printing. And there is a pocket-size edition, but the back on that is different. And this is the back that I absolutely adore. From the gilding on it to the florals with the moons, just a little bit of everything. So to me, this is the Muse Cat Tarot, which I've shown you many times. And I won't show much of the fronts this time because I actually did a whole video on this deck. Tremendously faithful to Rider-Waite Smith, so easy to read. And those gorgeous, gorgeous backs. The second question is, which would you turn into a wallpaper or fabric? Now, fabric might be different, but wallpaper, definitely my favorite deck. Influences of the Angels Tarot. I love everything about this print for wallpaper. It's kind of basic. And of course, I've talked about this deck a lot. Influence of the Angels. But yes, I do love the back of this too. And I think it would be very easy to live with on the walls of a room. Now, fabric might be a different matter, and I think I'll discuss that with a different one of these prompts. Which back feels most mysterious or magical? I had a few choices, but for me, it was the Tarot of the Divine. I have other decks that have like black with gilded moons, but there's just something about this peaceful blue and this kind of sky effect behind it. This is Tarot of the Divine. Now, I don't think it particularly matches this deck, but the creator thought it did, so that's where we are. And interestingly, they put this in gilding on the box, and then sort of did something in between on the sides with gilding. And so I guess at one point they were considering this gilding pattern on the cards and decided not to go with it. What deck back would you print on a journal or a tote bag? Well, this is a 2-part answer for me. And to start with, I need to show you some of my past journals and calendars. My current planner, previous planners. Are you sensing a theme? And occasionally stripes and florals, and then solid color. But you can see mostly florals. So I had a lot of choices for this. So bam, these were my choices for what I might print on a journal, but 3 of these are you're gonna see later anyway. So so I will talk about these two. This is the Cherokee Flora, which is a very fun Tarot de Marseille style deck. And this is my beloved Wonderland Tarot. Oh, I got the King of Wands and the Emperor together. How's that? So those were all in the running for my answer to this, but they're not the answer. There was a hands down, oh, I forgot to show you these two notebooks. Last year's planner and my address book. So having seen my choices, you might know what deck is going to come up here. It is, of course, the Tarot de Carlotydes. This small, fun, beautiful tarot. And right away I thought, how is this not in the running for one of my most beautiful decks? Because it met all the criterion. All of my many Virgo criterion for that. But here we have just the gorgeous backs. And so that's my winner for what I would most like to have printed on a journal. For a tote bag, it would be different. For a tote bag, it is something more traditional, a William Morris print. And this is from the Harmonious Tarot, a very Victorian era tarot deck. Kind of a fantasy, Arthurian through the Victorian lens, definitely through the Victorian lens. And there we have that beautiful William Morris print, which I would absolutely love to have on a tote bag. Or maybe even a wallpaper. But if I really had to choose something for a tote bag or a purse, it would be the Black Tarot. I aspire to French simplicity in my style, so I like very, very simple accessories. And while the Harmonious Tarot has that beautiful historic print, I would most likely choose something like this that is just almost plain black. This is a deck that I thought for a long time was AI, but it was made pre-AI. These are paintings. And it is intentionally supposed to be very black, very dark. And it is about the points of light in the darkness. And that card typifies it, as does that one. I usually reserve this for Halloween time. But that back would be exactly what I would look for a tote bag or a purse. Which gives you instant calm just by looking at it. This is, I think, a lesser known deck. This was from Etsy. This is the Vintage Tarot. And I often would say to myself that the back is the reason I got this deck, because I do just love this back. But there's a lot more for me to love about this deck, because I've mentioned this deck a couple times before. It basically feels as if it was set in colonial America, and very few there are shades of other time periods, but this kind of image is predominant. This feels very much like colonial era America with remembrances of Europe. And it has a lovely feel. But these backs, this kind of Jacobean print, Jacobean floral, is definitely something I can live with. This is another one I could use as a fabric print. And it just brings me instant calm. The next question is, which deck back could be a portal to another world? Now, I had several contenders for this, and I ended up with two. This is definitely one of them. This is from Le Tarot de cette Vertu by Robert M. Place. That's the French version of the tarot deck that I always forget its English name. I really, I'll put it there because I'll remember it later. But so that is one. Now I had a lot with kind of circular motifs that I felt could sort of be a portal, but this one is very special to me. Maybe the animal heads, I don't know, but this one, so this was my runner-up, and then the one that the actual winner for this portal to another world is this, the Rana George Lenormand. I just feel that takes us to another place. And that's kind of the whole purpose of that Lenormand anyway, is transporting us to Persia and all the beauties of the ancient world. So my winner for the portal to another world is the Rana George Lenormand. And if you don't know about this, the pictures all have this border so that they all form, the cards all have this border so that they form an extended picture as if you're looking through archways into different rooms, which is indeed quite magical. The next question, if you had to give someone a deck based only on the deck back, what would it be? Now, for a moment, I was considering this. This hits, you can tell from my other things, this was one of my floral choices. This is another Etsy deck, the Celestial Carnival. I did not know until after I got it that it was created at least partially with AI, which should be fairly obvious now. It would be obvious to me now. Bright pastel colors, and not the easiest deck to read. It did come with this matte gilding. So that was one of my first thoughts. But then the more I thought about it, the more I realized if I were going to give a deck based on the back, and it's hard to divorce the back from the rest of the deck, it would be the deck that gives you a map to the land of Winnie the Pooh. This is the Wisdom of Pooh Tarot, which was my dream deck. It's a deck that I hoped someone would create, and then they did. And it's everything. I can't even call it inner child because it's just so much everything for me. But the back is this reversible kind of map of the woodlands to Pooh Land. Pooville. So if I had to give someone a deck based only on the back, it would be the Wisdom of Pooh. So if I were going to give someone a deck based solely on the back, and it's hard to say solely on the back because they're so inextricably bound, it would be the classic tarot. This is Los Caraballo's take on the Soprafino. And this would be a good addition to give them because it does have words on the side. It is a pip deck, but again, it has the words on the side that help. This is the deck that is featured in the book Tarot Life Planner, which took me from not reading pips to reading pips. I have already mentioned that in a deck book review. I've mentioned it in several reviews. I adore the artwork on this deck. There are several other versions of the Soprafino, including hand-colored versions. They're all exquisitely gorgeous. But the question was, if I had to give it just on the back, and this is such a classic image. I don't know if I need to pixelate this because of what she's not wearing. It's such a classic image, so beautiful, and it kind of hits both worlds, you know, modern and classic. And so Los Caraballo's classic tarot. Which deck back design surprised you the most in a good way? Well, I didn't get it out. The backs of the Metelli Tarocchini surprised me because they're absolutely plain white. They didn't do anything to them. And yes, I'm still shuffling with my deck here. And I don't think they showed them. It's very rare for me to be surprised by a deck back because usually when I'm looking at the deck, I'm watching videos and I'm seeing the deck back. But then I came across this one, which if I ever knew about this deck back, it's a deck that I've had for a long time. I haven't worked with it yet. If I ever knew what the deck back looked like, I'd forgotten about it. So it even surprised me today. And this is the beautiful back of the Manuscript of Initiations Tarot. This has been on my I have to work with this deck list for quite a while. Many people have mentioned that they think it's all tiny, it's too small. That didn't particularly bother me because marginalia is always small and it's a marginalia based deck. The writing on the cards was not meant to be written. It's as a decoration. It's kind of, it occurred to me, it's the reverse of marginalia. Usually the writing is what you're reading and the marginalia is decorations. In this deck, the marginalia is what you're reading and the writing is decoration. So that's the deck that the back surprised me the most. Which deck back feels the most like you? I guess I need to go with my first choice. I have two choices again, but there's the one that I thought of immediately. I knew I was going to use it somewhere in this hashtag, and that is the Dreaming Way Tarot. This deck back is so unique. It's bright and colorful, and yet somehow with the stripes of these brown discs, it's almost kind of classic, almost kind of a snake print. I just love it's even whimsical. And so I think all of that is like, I'm a Virgo, so it's very regular. It's very ordered, and yet it has this creative, I'm definitely Queen of Wands, it has this kind of creative individuality to it, as well as the wash of this kind of bright lime grass green in the background. This is a deck I really love. If this deck is one I can easily answer, if you would you buy it again today, in a heartbeat? Yes. And so that's one of my answers. The other is the more traditional, and maybe this is the answer for the fabric question, but this is also me. And I think from what I've shown you of what I live with, this is very me. I wouldn't necessarily want to live with it on my walls, but I could definitely wear a blouse of this, or a dress of this. So somewhere between the two of those. Oh, and this is the Parisian Sibyl. With the people drawings of J.J. Granville. And this is its own system, the Parisian Sibyl. So somewhere between the Dreaming Way and those are the two parts of my personality. This is the part of me that has learned to go out into the world, and the part of me that is at home. And finally, the last question is, which deck back deserves more love and attention? Again, I have several choices. This is a deck back that just stayed on my mind. This just obsessed me. This is the Peculiar Pathways, the back of the Peculiar Pathways. So this was a runner-up for this honor. Another of my choices for this, and this was high contender, was The Forager's Daughter, the back of The Forager's Daughter. Just love that. These are both decks that I love. But the deck back that I think really wins my vote is this is the back to Unlocking the Secret Garden Oracle. It has my pinks and reds in it, and I just I love the oracle itself, and it's a very kind of magical oracle. And kind of mystical, magical in its representations. This is one of the more mundane or more regular. But it's the back of this that I just think is unsung. But really, I couldn't go wrong with any of these. These are both exquisite backs and fantastic decks. So I picked way too many. Oh, wait a minute. I'm not even done. I have 2 honorable mentions. And you didn't ask for honorable mentions, but there they are. Here they come. And these are truly honorable mentions for the back. The Desert Illuminations Tarot. known for its bright and quirky imagery and its aliens. But you know, that back, it's just like, who can forget that back? And then my other honorable mention is one you may not be familiar with. This is the Tarot Persan de Madame Indira. This is a Grimaud deck that is very much its own system. It's infused with images of Persia. It is a tarotkini at best because it does not have all of the numbers for each suit. But owls is one of the suits, swords is one of the suits. I think it has 6 suits, so it is its own thing. I don't know of anything else like it, but these backs, just this gilded, wow. So I think I just need to leave you with these just as the honorable mentions for this whole really brilliant idea of hashtag show us your backs. Thanks again to Ravneet at Winds of Reflection for this hashtag idea. It was great fun, and I got out too many decks looking at their backs, and now I've got a big cleanup job ahead of me. And it's all your fault. I've been doing a lot of VRs recently, and I do have fun with them, but I also start to feel like they begin to feel like they're a second unpaid job. And I, as a senior caregiver, I have enough unpaid work that I do. So I think I have one more that I might do, and then I think that's going to be it for VRs for me for a while. But I'm really glad I did this one, and thanks again, Ravneet. And thank you for spending time with me in my card back wackiness. Have a great day.